Questions and comments?
The honorable député de
The honourable member for Honoré Mercier. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There's one thing I'm worried about. I remember in the past, the history of Chile, we had some very difficult times. And some people were arrested just because they were suspected of something loosely. So here, could someone be arrested on mere suspicion that they might be a danger to the country? There might not be any real basis for that suspicion. A judge could be of the view that a person should be forced to enter into a recognizance, and if they refuse, they could be detained, put in jail. That brings back bad memories to me. So I think there's a lack of respect here for fundamental rights. I'd like to hear what my colleague has to say about that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
member for Toronto Danforth.
I regret I won't be able to add a lot to some of the excellent answers given earlier today by my colleague from Gatineau, because that deals mostly with S-9. But you're correct to ask the question simply because the government is presenting the two bills as a package. And the reason we're very concerned about these provisions dealing with recognizance and the potential detention if one actually refuses to accept the conditions or breaches the conditions is precisely that the standard is much lower than it would be for any other kind of process in terms of criminal prosecution. That's the basic concern is that it's a much lower threshold. And I don't have the historical experience that you've drawn on in the case of Chile to know how easily in some countries and sometimes in some contexts a system like this could be abused. Regretfully, I think in the Chilean context, at least for a large part, probably no system at all was needed for the abuse to occur because there was no rule of law respected. But what we would experience here would be a kind of slippage. The concern would be that this kind of provision would be used in a way that slowly becomes wider and wider than anybody thought it should be from the beginning.
Questions and comments?